Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome, or maybe it's welcome back to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is Pet Psychic Aminah. It's her show today. I'm so excited. Normally she invites guests, but the first week of each month, or is it the first or second? It's the first. Yes, the first week. I don't know. She's laughing too. It's all about Aminah. Let's hear her backstory. Welcome her to the program.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Sorry, I know I'm a few minutes late, but I'm too busy listening to the last show.
Oh, good.
And I got lost, and I was like, oh, she's going to get to me. Oh, she's going to get to me. Oh, this is fascinating. So be careful out there, people. You're going to get sucked in, and it's wonderful. Ride in the car. You can still drive. You know, go for a walk. That's what I do. Go for a walk and listen to the different chapters at different people. You have an amazing plethora of professionals who are just neat to watch, listen to, actually, because their voices are just, everybody's such a good speaker. I don't know how you did it, but man, in college, that was not the case.
Well, I have to share with you, Aminah, that I take pages and pages of notes from all the key learnings. When we go on breaks, I'm busily writing things down. And as I shared with you before, at the end of the week, which this is our last show of the week, each week I close out with you. I'm just so grateful that we have this platform and people from all over the world come and share their stories, educate us, entertain us. It's just such a lovely way to spend time.
Well, and you get to call it a JOB.
I know.
We got to think of a different acronym that uses J, O, and B. Joy.
Yes, we'll have to think of that.
I don't know an O. Oh, I don't know.
We'll have to think. But today's about you, my dear. So I know we've got a couple of pictures, but for people who have never met you before, tell them a little bit about your background, and then we'll start digging into some other parts of your journey. Absolutely.
A lot of people are lucky enough. I'm one of those that just fell into what I'm passionate about. It was all I could think of, a very one-sided mind. I didn't have to be exposed to it because animals are truly everywhere. And I mean, the bugs, the horny toads, if you don't know what that is, check that out because that's in the desert where I grew up. And I had a parent, my mom, that made sure we were exposed to what we were passionate about. And she could see that from a very young age that I was very, very passionate about animals. I also became very passionate about plants and nature. So I've been teaching landscaping and gardening. And anybody who comes to my house gets 411. No, it doesn't need water. It does need, no, this is how it said that. And this is how it leaned over there. And like, wow, that's a lot of information about a leaf. So an animal on the other side is a sentient being. It has thoughts. It has needs. It gets happy, sad, mad, glad, just not in the way that you might think. That's why somebody like me, and there's somebody in your area, I'm all over the world. I'm really fortunate because all I need is a phone call. I'd rather, as an empath, that means I feel what you say more than I use the words. We might say, I hate that person. Yeah, but what does that mean? What does hate mean in that context for you? You might be angry at them time and you hate what they did, but you don't necessarily hate the person. But if you don't understand how to translate what somebody is saying, boy, even we all get into trouble with what we think they said without asking, what do you mean by that? because my upbringing, my exposure to that word or that place or whatever it is might be totally different from yours. And as you look back on some of the wonderful times that Dr. JACALYN and I have just done us together, which is what we're doing today, I get to help her love alligators and spiders and all kinds of fun things. And that's truly my passion, is to teach. I come from teachers. Both my parents are teachers, and half of my dad's brothers, which is 4 of them out of the 6, are all teachers. So it's in our blood. And I get told all the time, stop teaching me, Mom, from my kids. But today we are just coming up or passing Father's Day. And my father plays a huge part. I don't talk about him as much as I do my mom, because she was just like any full-time mom. She made sure we were at events and going to events. So I spent a great deal of time with her and my siblings. But my dad was my coach, believe it or not, in high school. And who wants to be around a bunch of high school kids? The man should get a Saint Award. My parents have long since passed, but my father and I speak every day, because my passion is, and he knows how much I love him. And I'm very, very fortunate. I have no idea how this works, because I just accept, is I have always been able to hear people that have passed away. And if I have a deep connection to them, and that can be a bad one too. I've actually, if you come on, I believe it's the first Friday of the month, we have Dottie Boone who comes, and she's really been my mentor of getting the bad people away from me that have died, because I'm young at this. I'm very young at this. And I hope, I always feel like I am, that there's so much to learn. And what happened in that situation, really, really, really briefly, was a person who my daughter knew had died. And this woman decided that because her daughter was getting married, I was going to be the mouthpiece for her mother to tell me what to tell her daughter. I said, no, I don't do that, first of all. And we had never been close. So this was abuse of a relationship she thought she had. So it was good for me. It was really toxic. You get to put a guide, a barrier, a protection around you. You don't have to go to a psychic. You don't have to believe in it. You don't have to. Everybody has a right to free will. And so do your animals. So that's what I want to do, coexist. It is my banner. I should get a hat and a little crown or something and say, this is my kingdom of wanting to say, if you understood why your pets are doing what they do, I bet you would give them more leeway and there'd be less corporal punishment in our lives. And that means swatting at them and hitting at them and that type of stuff. We got a small kitten we rescued a while back. And in the beginning, she hissed once in a while. And just understanding, wait, where is this hiss from? And that's what I do. And that's what I hope to share with you. And today we're going to celebrate my dad who's passed and answer your questions about what is your animal doing? Or is it time? That's a really big question I get. Is it time to take them to the vet? And I have a kind of checklist. I never wrote it down, but one I want you guys to go through. Call, send us an email. We're on the show for a little while longer, and we'd love to get your questions, your specific questions. And you get the anonymity of live radio.
Thank you so much, Annie. And just for our folks who are watching on television, you can go ahead and post a comment here on any of the platforms and we can read it. And Annie, that was our last show. Aminah will be happy.
I was like, one of these dogs, cats are behind us is Annie.
So Aminah, we do have a couple of photographs if you want to share with us what they are.
Yeah. So
I've got them here to post.
You were going to talk about, oh, yes, there you go. I didn't know I sent them. So this one is my high school graduation. And that is my tiny little dad. I'm not wearing heels. I was almost as tall as my brother. My rest of my siblings were as tall as he was. He was only about 5'2". And he was our ground. We all went to school with him. We all had him as a coach and a teacher. He had a master's degree in math. And so he also taught algebra and all that. Luckily, I didn't take it with him because I suck at it. It's too logical for me. 2 times 2, 6, 12. No. But, we all find our ways to get through and our ways to get by. And my dad started teaching, and Dr. JACALYN, you might be way too young for this. And you heard rumors, I bet, but because you would never have experienced this if whatever school you went to happened. So in California specifically for a while, and I think it happened all over, but I didn't live there, so I don't know. My dad was the head of the PE department and everything, and on his wall was a board that they hung. So all the boys, when they went by the window of the coach's office, could see. There was a board. Anybody understand what kind of board I'm talking about in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s?
No.
They spanked those boys.
Oh my gosh.
It was legal. You didn't know that?
No.
See, I keep teaching you everything. Yeah, and when I was a kid, I remember going in going, ooh, there's the board. And I go around like I was going to come and jump off the wall at me or something. But yeah, it was legal in those days, and I think the 60s, definitely before that. But they got rid of that, I want to guess, about the 70s. It wasn't legal anymore for the teachers to actually hit the kids. I'm sure somebody still was without the board, but the coaches had this board, and I heard it used. I was out the door and I was like, man, I'm out of here. I don't know what that is, but it sounds terrible. But it was legal to spank the kids. And so, yeah, that went by the wayside and got like embezzled in, I don't know, turpentine or something. But can you imagine if you don't understand what's going on? This is what pets have gone through. That we were a society, and it is based on your experience. It is based on your culture, where you were raised, who, how, all that type of stuff. And because I've met many families at the same time that no one would have considered spanking their dog, much less their kid. But that was how my father was raised, with discipline, with 5 other brothers. And he didn't think anything of it. He wasn't aggressive. He was an athlete. There was no reason to not get your anger out. He would tell the kids that got in trouble, go for a run. That's what I want you to do with your animals. I want you to think about a different way to do it. And if you don't know, come talk to somebody like me, or read or watch these kinds of shows. I know I'm not the only person that works with animals and or whatever you're passionate about. Look at Dr. JACALYN's platform alone. This is a perfect example. She's got authors. You've got don't you have some kind of cook or chefs? And then you've got
we have 20 different shows.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even begin. You've got people that have awards and all this type of stuff. There's something for everybody to try or listen to. And maybe you're going through that time where you're putting your book together, or you're putting your new, whatever, you're going to open a business. This is the type of platform for that, because you really get those juices flowing and come up with your idea, with your trajectory of what you want to do. Maybe you love what Dr. JACALYN's doing, and she's running the shows and she's doing the background and done the hard work to do that. Great. Go mentor with somebody. Tell her you'll plug in all the equipment every day virtually. I don't know how you do that, but you know what I mean? Find somebody that will mentor you in a path. Dr. Dottie Boone did that for me when I came back into the Bay Area in California, because I didn't know anybody who was psychic. At least I didn't know anybody then. And so you need those support people. What you're going to do with your animals is you're going to listen. You're going to see where their body language is going, see that. Well, that's not everybody's gift. I have family members and I have clients that are very bad at reading their own family members. When you can see when they're angry, happy, sad, mad, glad, those really high emotion, which should be easier to see. Some people can't. They just can't. They're not their thing. And that's not wrong. It's not your gift. It's not everybody has a gift. You just sometimes have to find it. And I didn't find mine, and I never went public until after my 30s. Is that too late? No.
I just have a question for you. So, of course, you're a pet psychic. You've been doing this for a while, but you also do other things as well. You're a public speaker, you're a trainer. So, I'd love for you to share a little bit with our audience who might be watching for the first time about those things that you do as well.
Absolutely. What it means to be a trainer for me, because a lot of times I don't see the pet. It's really easy to walk up and show people and say, this is how you teach them to sit. This is how you teach them to stay. Let me give you you know this, Dr. JACALYN. I'm all outside the box. Let's see how cheap we can do it. Let's see how fun we can do it. Get that old styrofoam Christmas cup and catch those spiders. I adopted an abandoned shepherd. He was he was still a puppy, so he was everywhere. And I had a 2 and 3-year-old child. So I actually have a picture. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, there we go. There are 3 and 4 here. Okay, so a German shepherd, 65 pounds. It was an American bred shepherd. So the German bred shepherd, so it was smaller than some of the American ones. And what do you do when he just runs off? You leave the kids. Hey, hang out at that swing set and don't talk to the strangers. I'm going to go chase the dog, because if you're going to chase your dog, especially a runner like a shepherd or golden, any of them, you better be a really good athlete, because you're not going to get you, because they're going to think it's a game at that point. If you're chasing your dog, they're like, yay, we're out for a run. And you're like, no, come back. And they're like, you're kind of a noisy yappy. Have you met our Chihuahua, Pekingese, any of these? Well, they're having a great time sometimes. That's not aggression necessary. So why wouldn't your other dogs think the same thing? What I challenge everybody to do is think pack. You're dealing with a dog. He wants to be with your pack. If you have already established that you're the pack leader, do you think the pack leader goes out and chases the puppies and says, get them back here? Only if they're going to fall off a cliff. Otherwise, they're going to stand still and they're going to call them to them. What I found worked, not with everybody, and definitely not with children. Any children, I don't care how, they'll turn around and start walking away. And it's counterintuitive, because you're like, oh, but he's going to run the street. Well, let's hope you got to that lesson already. But by walking away from a pack animal, I have found in my training experience that more than 60% of those dogs, I'm being really conservative, turn around and follow you, because they're like, whoa, wait, my pack leader's leaving. Where are we going? And they turn around. So do you see the difference? As opposed to chasing them and running after them, they think we're on. If you've ever seen some of the really fast pack dogs, they're hilarious. What do we want? Lab, or you've got a Dalmatian or something like that. They're running side to side to side to side to side, and they're like, we're having so much. It's a bad thing.
Sounds like some of the guys I dated. The more I chased after them, the further they ran.
We'll start that counseling. Well, one time I got him. Our shepherd was in training. I'm doing this big park, big fields, and he's loose because I'm doing the lead thing, and we're working on it. And guess what comes by? A horse and a buggy. And my 1-year-old is gone. And I'm thinking, oh God, if these people crash and burn and that horse gets hurt, because the horse is all harnessed in. So it is possible to scare the horse. He rears up, the whole cart goes. We got people on. Oh my God. Yeah. So my mind's going to first aid all over. How do I help the people? But what I did, I was really green, just working with my first big shepherd, or any dog that was my sole responsibility. So instead of chasing him, because I was terrified for these people, so my energy got really uptight, is I learned, especially with that concrete lesson, is I got there yelling, screaming at him. The guy running the carriage is whipping, trying to get the horse to stay calm, which is pretty hard to do. It's a big carnivores chasing you and that type of stuff. I had to get calm, and I had to turn around and walk away. Do you know how hard that is? Why they're massacring this? They're going to nip the horse in the leg, and the horse is going to kill the dog because he jumped, or all the people and the horse and the dog are all going to die. And I have a lawsuit. just name any of those scenarios. So how hard is it for us to turn around and say, I've got to calm down. He's going to follow me. And that's what I kept in mind. No, even though he's a new dog to me, we're very bonded already because I rescued him being dumped in a yard. That's a whole nother story. And I walked away and said, Jake, I'm going home. Bye. So I changed my tone, changed my energy was the hardest to do. I was like, bye, we're going. I mean, this is the reality. But I had to learn it too. And I could never let that be repeated. Never, 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 never. So what I did is I went to the hardware store. I bought 100 feet of rope. I bought a clip, tied the rope on both ends, and made a loop for my own hand. So, and you never put it up here on your wrist. Never put a leash here. If the dog pulls, guess what happens to your wrist?
Broken.
Yep, it's longer. Not because it's supposed to. Those 8 bones are not supposed to go that way. So you keep it in your hands where you can let go. You keep it in your hands where you can let go. So you're safe and you use a call. I know how to whistle with my fingers. I have since I was a little kid. That's what brothers are for and cousins, to teach you to do that. So I whistle really, really loud. Kind of gross when your hand's dirty. But you can carry a whistle. They sell them at the dollar store. You know how I feel about the dollar store. Cheap, cheap, cheap.
Yes, I do.
Get rope. So I tied the dog up to the lead. It's just like a leash, but it was about 100 feet. I wish I'd have gone with less because that's a lot of rope to hold. But then I had him out, and then I'd say, come, and he wouldn't hear me, and I'd gently pull the rope. And then he'd go out, and every time he came back, and we did that about 4 or 5 times, and then he came back, I gave him all kinds of love. When you're teaching a concept that you might find difficult, so let's say you've got an animal that is very independent, a pug, a small chihuahua who thinks he's in charge. I've seen a lot of those. All of these other animals that their personality is very aggressive. Then you want to go to bologna, cut the bologna up, get it all over your hands. Because guess what? If they don't want to come for your sake, they'll come for a hot dog or a bologna or peanut butter because their noses and they're, especially if they're food driven. That works really, really well. I'm not an advocate of giving crap to animals, like Twinkies. That's what this is like. But what I want to do is get the mind trained where they are very nose driven to say, oh, look at me. Oh, we're going to come over here. And you're giving a treat until the concept is understood mentally because he doesn't or she doesn't speak people. Well, I don't speak dog very well, obviously. So a rope, simple, cost me $5 at the hardware store, and then another couple for the clips. And I kept that thing forever. And then we went camping and took the clips off and used the rope 10 years later when the dog didn't exist any longer. And that I'm just saying, you can train on your own. There's a million YouTube videos out there. Really great trainers, really great ideas. One of them will work for you. I'm just giving you the one I prefer because I want it to be organic. And my dog never chased a horse and put everybody's life on the line again. And that's really what it came down to. I couldn't live with my own self if he'd have been trampled or those people would have been injured or it just could have been very tragic. Very tragic. And it didn't need to happen except for I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not saying that we need to be an expert at everything. Know what you're willing to do. Know what you're willing to learn. If you're not going to learn how to discipline your own pet, please don't get one. You and I both know, Dr. JACALYN, we've got neighbors, friends, all kinds of people. And I introduced my new kitten the other day, a couple of weeks ago, because we were asked, would we take care of this kitten while the family figured out if they wanted to keep it or not? But they weren't a pet family. The kids wanted it and the kids were in college. So they're gone all day. The mom and dad did not want it. And so this kitten was really, really going through a hard time because nobody had a consistent pattern. You, Dr. JACALYN, are putting together these amazing shows. If you didn't have, it starts at this time, it ends at this time, we're going to have the back screen, we're going to, you know what I mean? A plan. There's steps. Animal needs steps. Children need steps. Couples need steps. We need
Yes.
some consistency. Today we're going to Bob's Big Boy. If you don't know what that is, you're too young. So, and then the other ones wants to go to Whole Foods and have only organic. Well, McDonald's not be the right place, or or Denny's. But that's what you have to find out together. Pets are not disposable. I want everybody to hear this. Pets are not disposable.
And let's hold right there. We just have to take a break. We'll come back on that. Yes,
Perfect.
We'll come back on that. So folks, stay with us here on USA Global TV. We're going to play a couple of clips and then we'll be right back. These are actually, the first one is about a new movie that is out, and the second one is from UNICEF. So let's take a look and stay with us right here. We'll be back with Pet Psychic Aminah.
Every time someone gets cut off from the rest of us, this country becomes a foot shorter. All my life I've looked out for other people and got into trouble for it. But I had faith. Not in God, but in people.
How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Yes! For those unfamiliar with court proceedings, that was the plea, not the verdict.
Меня зовут Маша, мне 9 лет, я живу в Красногоровке, у меня все хорошо. Кушать у нас есть, пить у нас есть, сахар у нас есть, все есть. Только дров не хватает. На буржуйке, когда у нас есть, вот эти мы дрова пособираем, закинем, оно горит. Например, в 10 запалили, в 11 закончили, вода нагрелась, и все, и мы купаемся.
В наш дом 4 было прямых попаданий, так что мы боимся. Человека даже осколками поранило, забрали в больницу с 6-го подъезда соседа, так что мы тоже боимся, у нас много деток. Деваться нам некуда, нас никто нигде не ждет.
Когда вырасти, я хочу найти работу такую, чтобы я помогала людям, которые бедные, там.
A lot of people don't realize that we as humans are cruel, and animals learn a lot from us, and we could vice versa learn how to coexist with them if you just watched, even if you just watched your spider, even if you watched a squirrel or any of that type of stuff. But if anybody has seen, and Dr. JACALYN, I'm going to assume, you know, at our young age, we've been walking down the streets and hiking and walking and seeing these animals and these dogs and cats. What I'm talking about are cropped ears, cropped tails, whatever.
Designer dog.
Yeah, and this is done after you design them genetically. So speaking from firsthand knowledge, and then having to do a lot of research, when we adopted this shepherd puppy that was dumped in a backyard, this dog was $6,000. I found out because I found the breeder. He had a tattoo in his ear, perfectly harmless, but I was able to look it up, and she's registered. She was livid, to say the least, that one of her puppies was there. Now, he didn't have a very deep slant to his back. And if you look at shepherds, they tend to go from a really great, the males specifically, females are a lot trimmer. And then they go to a pretty severe slant depending on the breeder and what happened with that puppy. Can you imagine walking around every day bent over? You know, like people with osteoarthritis and anyway, you understand, where you're hunched over because your spinal cord just can't support your head. Believe it or not, our head, empty or not, it just depends on the day and the week for me, that your head is really heavy. Your brain is really heavy. So it wears and tears on your spinal cord. All the horseback riding and landscaping I've done have really probably worn mine out. So imagine that a dog from birth, you create some bizarre angle that they walk at, stand at. A German Shepherd is a perfect example because he wasn't designed to have a slant back. And if you see some of the more expensive ones, they've really got a huge slant. Well, can you imagine walking around on your knees all day long? That's what it must feel like. So hip dysplasia is really common. You'll get lots of dogs that have dental problems because they're crossbred with something that doesn't have the same kind of teeth strength or whatever. What's really neat is you see what they call the bully breeds. So you've got your Rottweiler, you've got your Bull Mastiff, most extraordinary dog that it's huge. It's like a little horse, but it's been used, and dog pinchers, Dobermans, all of these dogs have been used for security, and that's necessary on many places. I see many places that have warehouses, but people are gone, so they use a dog to guard it, and that's fine. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what you're doing to the body. Their hips go out, their joints go out. So instead of having 10 or 15 years of life, they're having 2 or 5 at best. And it could be miserable, especially if you take a look at the slant on shepherds. That is not some way you're supposed to walk, is, you know, like this and the shoulders. Now, if you see the ones that they crop the ears, Doberman pinchers, that was very, very popular. I'm still praying that it goes away and the fad is over. But it is, if you've ever seen the surgery, they put a wire up to hold the ears up. The ears are completely cut around the edges, and they're put into a cast. So imagine somebody comes over and says, you know what, I don't like your leg. It kind of goes to the left. So I'm going to break it for you, and you're going to wear a cast, and we'll get it all fixed. And your feet will face that way. It'll be so much better. It's the same thing. How is that different from you cropping some dog's ears who has this beautiful God-given floppy ear? Oh, I don't want him to get ear infections. Well, clean his ears then, you lazy humanity. Okay, don't even get me started on people. Anyways, God didn't intend it to stand up for a reason. There is a reason why animals look and do what they do, because their body was designed to do that. And if we're going to get in there and muck up with it, and I'm shocked always when I run into the vets who perform these surgeries, because it's money. It's really, really good money. If you take the nails out of your dog's feet or your cat, declaw them, then they're going to be like arthritis. Their toes will curl, and they're going to walk on nothing but that scar tissue and the little bit of pad. Yes, you're creeping out, aren't you? Makes your skin crawl. But people think about the fact this is a cognizant, sentient being. It loves, it gets mad, it has a pack, or it lives alone. It doesn't matter. So you're going to declaw all your cats. And a year ago, I think maybe more, I did a whole series on declawing. In the 70s, 60s, 70s, it was huge. It was like, that was a status symbol. Oh, my cat's not going to muck up my furniture. Well, that's what they're supposed to do, is stretch their nails. That's what a cat tree's for, not your carpet. And it's also about discipline, love, come from love. We all want our kids not to fall off the balcony of the 7th floor of whatever. That's not cool. So did you just let them climb around and hope they figured it out when they bounced off the cement from something? No. So the same thing, you take on a life. I don't care what life you take on. Then you've taken that responsibility to say, I'm going to do the best I can. If that's rehoming them, great. Then do that. Because I have gone through parts of my life where I couldn't handle another responsibility. And that's how I looked at it at the time. I was just too stressed. So we didn't have pets for a little while because I was too stressed. And then my kids got old enough, and I said, okay, if you're going to have this bunny, guinea pig, whatever, especially caged animals for me, then you're going to clean the cage like every week, because I don't walk into homes that go, have animals.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
We all know that smell.
Yeah. And everybody knows that smell from cat, dog, whatever. Wet dog. Oh my God.
It's another one.
Disgusting. And then look how fabulous you're dressed. And I'm going to assume, I don't know, but that you have these beautiful black pants, navy blue pants, whatever. And so you go to this person's home and they're new to you because you're going with a friend or whatever. And they have, I don't know, a St. Bernard. Oh, they'll just drool all over you, and their fur will be everywhere. I mean, you can't comb that stuff off.
I've been in situations like that, and it's really hard because you love animals, but at the same time, you are dressed a certain way. You don't want to be wearing the animal, and you don't want to offend the host or hostess or upset the animal.
Right. And what I encourage everybody to do is, we can politely say, and them getting upset is them. People need to realize it's not our responsibility to see how they react. We can be polite. We can be courteous. We can explain, short explanation. You know, hey, I'm wearing a really nice outfit and I'm going somewhere later, whatever, like go into my bedroom. I don't want to take this off here, whatever that is, and say, I'd really like your dog to not sit with me. You know, I love animals. That's great. Or whatever, lie through your teeth, but you should have the right. And what I stress is it should have started with the pet owner. I am sick and tired of pets being owned by people who are needing better psychology help than a dog can give, because they are defensive. And I have found, and this is, I'm not trying to make a stereotype, so everybody forgive me, I'm just going to give an example. I have found men who are small, and I'm not talking about stature, body parts, legs, arms, hairs, or anything else. When they don't have confidence in themselves, they're out to get the bully breeds. They're out to get the bull mastiffs. They're out to get all this because they think it makes them more manly. Because God forbid you walk down the street with a cat, and honey, that's more work than that dog, because he wants to be in your pack. That cat will walk away and go, I don't like dinner tonight. I'm out of here. Bob down the street feeds better. I'm going there. I've actually had a cat do that. He walked away, and 6 months later, we looked everywhere. And my neighbor said, oh, he's been at our house. Oh, great. And what did we do? I was consumed with raising children, and the kids were so little that I kept the cat a little more at the distance until they could learn to be more gentle. Well, the cat was like, no, I don't do children. And so we gave him to my neighbor and said, thank you, because he's very unhappy here with small children that are so undependable about what they're going to do. They didn't ever pull his fur, but he just was like, oh, that's too much noise. We both have, animals and us have the right to be in a family that fits that is a good mix. Like this little kitten that we took. That family, the kids were 20s and they thought this would be fabulous. But where their parents were raised and the culture they were raised in, pets were dirty. Pets were work, and they didn't understand that. And so this little baby needed to be rehomed. And I'm really glad. And all we did was say, hey, we'll just foster. We'll just, until you guys decide what you want to do. We have no buy into this. We already have 2. But she ended up fitting into our family, and it was the right thing. And
Well,
I
that's nice that you
encourage
did that.
everybody
Really
to try the right thing for you and your animal. They have the right to have a better life. And do try. And first and foremost, don't adopt. Foster. There's a million foster programs. The shelters are getting full because people are been going back to work and that kind of stuff. And they all got a pet at the first of the pandemic. And we're thinking, that's a 15-year commitment, not 5 months. Not, we're all going to be back. Remember when pandemic first started? Oh, we're all going to be back at work in a few weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Well, they hadn't met humanity yet. I don't want to. But you don't take a life for 5 weeks unless you're fostering. That's the great thing of fostering. You get to try all of them and not own any of them. And the vet bills aren't yours. And that's what I keep saying is it's a life. Respect that life. Don't declaw it, train it. There's a million trainers. If you don't feel qualified to train it, there's a million of us that will do that. You have to follow up though when we're not there. We're going to show you the techniques, but you and I both know, JACALYN, if you don't follow through, it's just like your nasty, mean human children. They're like, she doesn't mean that. I'm going to go eat all the cookies. Then you're sick. You go to the doctor because you were allergic to half the ingredients or whatever. And you tell the doctor, oh, well, I told him not to eat that. And the doctor looks at you and said, he's 5. What did you expect?
Right. You've made a lot of good points, and fostering is where it's at. So think twice before you go out and purchase an animal, because they are part of your family and they have rights as well. And you need to really put a lot of thought into that. It's not just like it's the weekend or I'm lonely or I'm sad or I don't feel well. Let's go get a pet. Aminah, it's been a wonderful show again. Hard to believe it's come to an end, flying by. I'm going to spotlight you, and your banner's been up obviously for most of the show, but for people on Business Talk Radio, who should reach out to you? I don't know if you have any offers today for people. I can type it up if you do, but if not, just let people know how to reach you and who should reach out.
If you have a pet currently or had a pet that you'd like contact, the one thing we didn't get to because I yammered on too much. I love my field and I love talking about all this, but I talk to pets that have passed away. I do it a lot with my own. I didn't train for this. This was something that came with me. I do talk to people that have passed. That is why I can do clients all over the world, is because I have gifts that are not, I didn't learn them in a book. I did go to college for animal science. I did work in a vet clinic because I wanted to well-round my education or what my natural talents were. So now I understand what I'm listening to, or I can see the subtlety. Animals are very subtle. It's a twitch of the ear. It's a swish of the tail. It's a little bit of fur change. If you've ever seen a horse, they just kind of wiggle the flies off. And those subtleties mean something. And for somebody like me, I can translate that into human voice and say, okay, this is what's going on. When you call me from, I don't know, I haven't had Mars yet, but I have Europe. I have clients in Spain and Italy and many other places besides the United States. And they go, well, how can you do that? Do you need a picture? I'd rather not have a picture. Why? Because I want to feel their soul. I want to feel their conversation. I want to feel their energy. And as an empath and a psychic, I can do that. And then I ask you, what do you want to know? And sometimes they'll bring you around slowly because that's what's good for you and say, it's time to say goodbye. That's one of the hardest conversations because, again, what I talk about, we shouldn't be making decisions for our animals with cosmetic surgery is what I was talking about. But the same thing, my father passed years ago and his birthday is tomorrow. And I wanted to celebrate that by offering to you, if you are listening to this I am going to give it 7 days until next Friday. If you need to know anything, please get a hold of me, bridgingworlds.us, and I'd be glad to answer one question for any of Dr. JACALYN's hosts, guests, and audience. So 1 week, the next 7 days till next Friday, and I'd love to help you with one question to make your relationship better. Or is it time to say goodbye? Is it time to go to the vet? These are all the things your pet can tell me, and we can intervene and make both your lives better.
All right. Thank you so much for that offer for our audience. You will answer one question to help make your relationship with your pet better, or help you with any decisions that you have to make.
Absolutely. And they can watch all our, what are we up to now? 55, 60? Are we at 60 yet? Episodes?
No, we're at 56.
Like 57. 56?
I think 56. I think it should be 57, actually. I have 56
Yeah,
written down, but I think it's 57. Yeah, you can watch all of our shows over on our YouTube channel under the playlist Pet Psychic Aminah.
Yep. And you can look at all my social media, Facebook and LinkedIn. That's Facebook is very social. I'm hilarious. I know. I love pets, and they do hilarious things. On LinkedIn, you're going to find more educational and serious things. So there you'll see our video of all the ones Dr. JACALYN has done. And I've got a whole treasure of the last year and a half we've been together. So learn lots.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone, as we come to the end of another week, whether you're watching us on television, on social media, or listening on the radio on Business Talk Radio. We're just thrilled to have you. As I mentioned earlier, we have about 20 shows a week. Each week it's a little bit different because we have some special events, but we do have a brand new show starting next week, and I'm going to share this with you. It's called Leadership of the Heart. And Mariska Duprier, who is my personal and business coach, she is my co-host for this particular show, and she is based in New Zealand. She is a leadership and transformation coach. So if you're interested in being on this show, you can go over to our website, just like any of the shows. There are a few, like the show with Aminah, that are by invitation only. So go over to usaglobaltv.com, book your session. Okay, the next thing is our reunion show is coming up. We had our launch show. I can't believe that it was in January. It seems like it was 5 years ago, but it was just in January. And we will be having a reunion, which is open to all business owners who would like to promote their brand, their business, their product, their service, their event. This is not an interview platform on May the 1st. It is all about promoting you to our audience. We'll be streaming for 6 hours, and my co-host is Mr. Al Cini. And if you are interested, I'll put up the banner quickly and also put it in the comments. You can go over to Eventbrite. We have 27 spots left. You can purchase your ticket and book in then, and we will get in touch with you about your time slot. You also get to engage with the other attendees. You can form relationships, collaborate, whatever it is that works for you, or you can just give your pitch and go. And finally, our elevated listening community. For those of you who are not aware, I also am the owner of Dr. JACALYN LLC, in addition to USA Global TV LLC, and I have a elevated listening community. You can go and join us by going to drjacalyn.com/join. And finally, yes, there's more. One last thing is my new book is coming out, and we're actually going to be polling the followers of my followers to see which book cover you prefer. So we'll have 3 book covers. It'll be over on Facebook, and you can go ahead and weigh in on which one you think I should go ahead with. But the book is Adversity to Awesome, Inspirational Reflections to Make You Reevaluate Everything, True Life Stories of Inspiration from Survivors of Imprisonment, Addiction, Sexual Assault, and more. And I actually have a chapter about something that happened to me that I have never discussed publicly. So do stay tuned for that. You can actually go over to Amazon right now and you can pre-order my ebook. So just put in Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. My first book is there as well. Okay, enough of the promos. It's time to go. All right, everyone. Thank you again for being here. Please do subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV, over on YouTube, and go to our website. You can also watch our shows there under our playlists. Okay, thank you again. Thanks, Aminah. Have a great weekend. God bless you all.